In the name of Theseon Company, I may welcome you to the LOOMEO video tutorial. In this tutorial, I will explain the information input in LOOMEO. This tutorial shows how to work with the domains in the multiple domain matrix. Using LOOMEO, I am able to deal with multiple domain matrices. The design structure matrix, as a special case of an MDM, is available as a matrix based on one single domain. To enlarge a project I am working on with LOOMEO, I must go to the main window of LOOMEO and use the button Change Domains. This menu helps me to manage the system's domains. I can add new domains or remove domains. LOOMEO automatically creates a symmetric system matrix showing all the domains in the main window. This basic matrix represents the meta model of the system. The matrices on the diagonal represent the design structure matrices of the particular domains. To manipulate the domains, I must select the respective domain by a right mouse click and can add information selecting Create New Dataset. Subsequently, I enter the dataset's name. This dataset window shows the domains connected by this new dataset. In this example, the dataset shows a design structure matrix. As it concentrates on domain 1, there is no connection to any other domain. The main window in LOOMEO always shows the actual state of affairs. Here the complete overview is given. I see how big the matrices are. LOOMEO gives the number of nodes by the two numbers DMMs, respectively the number on the respective position DSMs. Usually, I start working on the domain mapping matrices, the matrices which are not placed on the main diagonal. Having completed the DMMs, I concentrate on the design structure matrices. In practice, it is very helpful to edit the DMMs first and calculate the DSM afterwards. To work on a single domain, I double-click on the domain. A window appears where I may select the usual functions such as the matrix, graph or filter window. To use one of these functions, I proceed as shown in the tutorials before. If I change the number of nodes in any domain, LOOMEO automatically changes all the other domains, DMMs as well as DSMs. That is why I can work on a domain in any dataset. My whole system model keeps always actual. LOOMEO updates the system automatically. Domains I have not worked on are not specified more detailed. They are signalized by a triple frame without any information in the middle. LOOMEO affords the possibility to import data which has been created before. To load data into a domain, I click with the right mouse button onto the domain and select Import Dataset. I need this function if I want to insert, for example, a whole DMM which is completed as it has been discussed before. The domain mapping matrices connect two different domains. Such matrices are generally not symmetric. During the work with domain mapping matrices, I am limited to the matrix function. A graph or a filter window are not available for a DMM dataset. However, the dependencies of domain mapping matrices are pictured in the multiple domain matrix, which shows the whole system. In the practice, it is mostly easier to create a domain mapping matrix and compute a design structure matrix. LOOMEO is able to compute DSMs of a DMM. To explain this function, I concentrate on a system containing two domains. I have already created one domain mapping matrix. This matrix can be converted into two design structure matrices. I am able to compute the DSM of dataset 1 as well as the DSM of dataset 2. At first, I want LOOMEO to calculate the design structure matrix 1. Therefore, I click on the part of domain 1 with the right mouse button and select Deduce Indirect Dependencies. The target domain is pre-selected. I need to choose the first DMM, which is the input DMM. I choose dataset 1, the domain mapping matrix connecting domain 1 and domain 2. Now I could choose further matrices, which is not sensible in this example. I enter the selection by pressing OK. LOOMEO computes the result and a new DSM for domain 1 appears. I can display this DSM. Therefore, I make a double click on the area of this domain. As usual, I may choose the domains graph matrix or the filter mode as I work with the design structure matrix. In the same manner, I can compute the design structure matrix too, using the first domain mapping matrix. Manipulating a domain mapping matrix, I connect two domains directly. Furthermore, some domains can be connected indirectly. As I mentioned, it is very helpful to calculate the edges resulting of indirect dependencies. I will underline this function with the help of a new example. I have completed the domain mapping matrix 1, 2, as well as the design structure matrix 2. That is why there are already dependencies in DSM1, but they are not filled in yet. They exist implicitly. LOOMEO computes the dataset of DSM1. Therefore, I make a right mouse click onto the part of DSM1, the block in the first column of the first row, and select the button Deduce Indirect Dependencies. In this menu, the DSM1 is pre-selected as the target DSM. I just select DMM12 as first and DSM2 as second dataset. LOOMEO automatically creates the matrix. To watch the new DSM, I activate the window of the DSM by a double click and click on the Matrix button. Furthermore, I can calculate domain mapping matrices. If I had set, for example, dataset 1, 2, which defines the influence of domain 1 on domain 2, and dataset 2, 3 as well as the DSMs 1 and 2. Thus, domain 1 is connected with domain 2. Domain 2, which depends on domain 1, influences domain 3. That is why domain 3 depends indirectly on domain 1. LOOMEO provides the opportunity to derive the dataset 1, 3, showing the dependencies between domain 1 and 3 automatically. Therefore, I click with the right mouse button on the DMM13 and select Deduce Indirect Dependencies. In this menu, the DMM13 is pre-selected as the target DMM. I just select DMM12 as first and DMM23 as second DMM. LOOMEO automatically creates the matrix.